everyone, and welcome to the Icehouse podcast. Today we are chatting with Sarah Laurence, business owner of DCPower Batteries Limited, and she was a part of our Owner Manager Program 49. So just finished up the implementation day, and today we're discussing her experience and life after the program. So welcome, Sarah. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Bryar. Thank you for having me.
No worries. We'll kick straight into that first question, which is explain your business to our listeners and your journey of becoming a business owner.
Sure. So our business, DCPower Batteries, we are a family business. We're based in Palmerston North in the mighty Manawatu. We have a few different divisions to our business, but it primarily all comes back to batteries. It's all about batteries. So we have one division which is what we call motive power. So that is batteries for forklifts and that sort of MHE, that heavy equipment. So we sell and service those for the likes of foodstuffs, those sorts of places.
Wow.
We also have a retail store which sells, we've got a physical shop here in Palmy, and we also sell online, and they are car batteries, so starting batteries, bike batteries, we've got deep cycle batteries, all sorts of batteries. And then we also run a workshop, and in the workshop we do a lot of RVs and camper vans, and we install power systems, DC power systems. So for people that want to freedom camp, they bring their RV to us, we can install some batteries and set them up with a charging system, whether it be solar or mains charging or whatever. So we do quite a lot, and
quite diverse. I love that.
Very, very diverse. So in terms of why I got into this business, it was purely accidental, to be honest.
Accidental.
There was no grand plan. So I worked with my dad, and there's a bit of a funny story around this. So I was always worked in the corporate world. I used to work for Toyota New Zealand, and I had expectations of one day breaking the glass ceiling and sort of being a female GM, sort of pushing back. And I had my first child, and he was 3 months old, and we were visiting my parents, and my dad was self-employed at the time, and he made comment that he wanted a physical premises, and he wanted to open a shop or something. And my really caring, lovely husband said, "Oh, well, actually, Sarah's not doing anything right now. She's like paid by the government, and she's just sitting at home. So she could come and do that for you, and you wouldn't even have to pay her."
Oh my God. What a story.
And that was how it all started. So
thank you, husband.
We're still married. No, we're still married.
Good. Thanks for adding that in there.
So that's literally what happened. So I started working with my dad, and we had a little creche out the back. Really, we had the back office was set up with a cot and a baby gate, and I literally juggled motherhood and helping dad to grow the business from those early days. That was 2009 now. So
wow. What a story. That is so interesting and such a laugh. And obviously you enjoyed it. You stuck around.
Yeah, I've stuck around. I have. So, my kids are grown up now, so it's a lot easier than it was then. But I've sort of been with Dad for through the stages of the business, and it's my baby as well now too. So it's been pretty exciting, really, going from a one-man band to we're still only small. We've got 5 full-time staff. But the journey that we've had at each point has been cool. It's been a good ride.
Yeah, brilliant. What a story. I love that. A great way to kick off this podcast. Awesome. Next question. When did you first hear of the Icehouse and the Owner Manager Program through all that?
Oh, yes. So that probably would have been maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. So I have a really close friend who I have followed her entire business journey from start to finish. So she started a business, was self-employed, lived out the business life cycle, and then shut her business down. And I've been really privileged to be by her side throughout that and sort of see the highs and the lows.
Great.
One of her aspirations in her early days was to do the Owner Manager Program. And I'd never heard of it. When she sort of mentioned it to me, I go, "What's that?" And then to be honest, I kind of thought, and then parked it to one side and didn't really think that it was for me. I didn't think I was successful enough. I didn't think we were there yet. All of that sort of stuff. So I never did anything about it. And it wasn't until Chris came to see me And he said, you need to go on this program. And I did my own research. And then I thought, well, actually, why not? Why not? Let's give it a go. So,
yeah, no regrets. That is cool. Well, that goes in nicely to the next question of sum up your owner manager program experience.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Owner Manager Program 49 holds the record for the longest running Owner Manager program in history.
Yes. Oh gosh, thank you, COVID.
Thank you, COVID. So we had our first session in February of 2020, and we went to venue one, and we all got to know each other. We had our introduction weekend, and then we came home, and boom, we were all in lockdown. So
crazy.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So we went from supposedly having monthly meetings to I actually had my first big Zoom meeting was an owner manager catch up. So the timing was quite divine, really. Although we were the longest running, it took us a long time to execute the program. I actually felt like that was really good for us because we had so longer to bond, and we also shared some really significant business impact. We worked through this this event together, which I feel very, very grateful to have been in the position to have had people supporting me.
That's cool perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And and we've only just finished, so we had our reunion, our implementation week last week. So yeah, that's been a year for what should have been a 6-month program.
Yeah, totally. And like you said, it's actually quite nice to have people there with you in the same boat as you. You can be vulnerable knowing they're business owners and they're also having to make hard decisions and sort of bounce off each other in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And a problem shared is a problem halved, right? I mean, I had to think how many business owners during that period felt alone. And had we not started, had I not joined the Owner Manager program, I would probably have a really different outlook right now, to be honest. So, we were able to all sort of talk and understand that, we were all facing the same problems, and what I saw as a significant mountain, someone else, didn't necessarily see it that way. So, we were able to give each other perspective. Just so comforting to have a group of people beside you that are experiencing the same thing that you are.
Awesome. That's so brilliant. Really valuable to have those people. It really is about the people, which is cool. Next question is, what changes did you implement into your business and your lifestyle since doing the Owner Manager program? Obviously, you've just finished up, but I'm sure there's lots of things you've taken from it.
Look, I probably need a day to tell you. And I think our team were probably a little bit scared of Mondays. Every Monday after I came back from the program, I was absolutely fizzing with ideas and all of that sort of stuff. So it really invigorated me personally, and my desire to want to do things for the business and the goals that we want to achieve. Look, I've introduced so many changes following. I think probably the single biggest thing for me right now has been the importance of looking after myself. And I should have known this really as a mother. Any parent, you can't give the best of you to someone else if you're if you're not taking care of yourself. So that's and COVID was a great experience, a great experience again for me to learn that. So so I see a psychologist once a month religiously, and that is my time. That's my time to unpack my own head and to sort of understand what's going on, what's triggering me, what I need to work on, what I need to focus on, what sort of headspace I'm in, and I'm going to continue doing that. There's no end date on that. That's something that I've committed to, and I'm going to carry on with.
Awesome.
So
love that.
I would strongly encourage people, it's not a sign of weakness and it's got nothing to do with my mental health. It's just, I'm a verbal person. It enables me to blur everything out and come to peace in my own head, with my own head. So I think being the best me that I can be has been beneficial for the team, because it has a flow-on effect. I'm not only setting a good example, but I'm also making better decisions. I'm communicating better, all of that sort of stuff. And probably the other really big thing that I took away from the Owner Manager program that I've implemented into the business is the importance of knowing the numbers and knowing where the business is at. So I would be probably like a lot of small business owners, and I would be guilty of making uninformed decisions in the past, and then reacting to those, whether they be good or bad. Some of them I've been lucky with, some of them not so lucky. But I, and again, COVID, great learning example for me, put us into probably one of the most precarious positions that we could have been in as a business. And I had to make decisions. We're a family business. A family values are so important to us. I know every single one of our staff members on a relatively intimate level. We see each other all day, every day, and managing them, I felt responsible for them through COVID. And so having the facts, having the numbers in front of me, to be able to make decisions made it a lot easier. We did have to make one position redundant as a result of that period, which was just absolutely horrible. But I wouldn't have been able to make that. The decision was glaringly obvious when I looked at it on that factual basis. And I sure as hell didn't want to make that decision based on my emotions. So, I think we now have a very robust financial reporting system compared to what we used to do. And,
amazing.
And I think that's that's translated not only in terms of bolstering my own knowledge, but in terms of the planning cycle that we take, and where we're going to be in at the end of FY22 and where we're going to be at the end of FY30. So we're now thinking long term. We're thinking strategically. Everything is sort of in place. Something else that I learned that I've implemented, and I could keep going forever. One other thing is I am really practicing imperfect action. So I'm a perfectionist. I like to have all my I's dotted, I like to have all my T's crossed, I like to have everything in its place. But the reality is that if I waited for everything to line up, I would never make any decisions, and I'd never get anything moving. So I'm really focused on this. We get to a point where we've got enough information to make a decision, that it's not an irresponsible decision, but we have to make a decision, and there is a little bit of a gamble at the end there. So those sorts of things are gosh, I could go on. There is so much from the Owner Manager program.
It's amazing, and it's practical as well, which I love. Practical things people can implement, sort of realize that they need to tune into, like their finances, their personal well-being. And I'm so inspired by what you said in terms of just like taking action when things aren't perfect. It's so easy to go, oh, we'll do this when this is lined up and that person's there and all this, and it's actually like, no, just give it a go. You've thought about it, give it a go, and make changes as you go. So that's really inspiring. Cool. So awesome. Question from there is, what learnings, if any, did you take from your Owner Manager group, the people on your group?
What learnings did I take from people in the group? Oh, so much again. We had a really diverse group. We had all sorts of businesses, people with different strengths in different areas. So I think that was probably something that was really beneficial for me as well. So I got a lot of perspective from the people in the group. So I would be sitting there thinking, shivers, this is a really big deal. And then someone else would be like, oh, yeah, that's important, but I think this is more important. So challenging my thinking and giving me a little bit of perspective was probably the thing that came about from having a diverse group of people around the table. And I think actually I have also realised that that's actually quite important. So we've just gone through the process of setting up an advisory board for our business, and awesome. And one of the things that I did when I spoke to the people, when I asked the people to be involved, was I consciously thought about different ways of thinking and who would challenge me, and who I don't want a bunch of people around the table that are all just going to agree with what I say or agree with it. It's not going to give me anything. So I needed diversity, not by way of race and religion, but by way of thinking around the table. And that's I believe that's going to give us the best result.
Yeah, you want people to challenge you. You don't want 5 or 10 yous in the room.
Absolutely not, because all we're going to get is 5 or 10 these amplified.
No offense, but it's good to mix it up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. What is one thing that 2020 taught you that you're taking into 2021?
What did 2020 teach me?
It was a big year.
2020 taught me so much. I think I've probably touched on it, and that is you've got to do something. If you do nothing, if you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same result. So do something. Just do something. If if something's not working, do something different. It may not work right, but trial and error. You've got to keep putting one foot in front of another to make progress. I think the other thing that I learned as a result of 2020, obviously a massive year for everyone, but things can always get worse, right? There's always worse off than you. Things can always get worse, and it's all about how we face these challenges that are put in front of us, and mindset has a big thing to do with it. So, if I had sat down when we first went into lockdown, I had two choices, right? I had the responsibility of 5 other families on my shoulder, and I take that very, very seriously. So, we could have shut up the shop and said, right, this is the end of our business, or we could fight. And whether or not the fight was successful, but we made a decision that we were going to carry on, and we did. So we had to remain flexible. I think not being fixed in concrete is, and not thinking that this solution is the only solution, is also something really important. So yeah, I could go on.
Oh, it's great. It really is. A few people have said that flexibility, to just sort of move with what's happening in the world and around them, business, employees, health, all that sort of stuff. Flexibility has been a key word that's come up for sure.
Absolutely. And, things happen so quickly, right? From 1 week. I mean, in January last year, I was in the States. So I traveled around the States for a month.
Oh, wow.
Including a cruise ship, by the way. Went on a cruise ship. Came back to New Zealand, and everyone was talking about this COVID thing. And I was like, I haven't really heard about that. And then, 2 weeks later, we were in lockdown. So
crazy.
You just don't know what's around the corner. So, you take action for what's in front of you today, and remain adaptable from there.
Totally. It did happen so fast. I remember, going to like a big event, and then next week it's like, and we're in lockdown, and it's like, what? But that's it. It just, things move, and we've got to adapt as we go. So awesome. Last question we've got here is, what piece of advice would you tell an owner manager of a small, medium-sized business in New Zealand at this time? And you've touched on lots of things, but anything that springs to mind.
Yeah, look, I saw you gave me these questions in advance, so I knew this question was coming. And I thought about it, and one piece of advice is really hard. Look, I think for me, it's the reality that we're not alone. I think it can be really daunting sometimes. When you are a small business owner, you wear a lot of hats, and you all of a sudden have to be good at a lot of things. So, I came from a background of sales and marketing in the corporate world, and I knew nothing around numbers. I knew nothing around operations, all of those sorts of things. And here I am trying to build this business where all of a sudden I have to be good at systems, at processes, at budgeting, at interviewing people, at all of those sorts of things. And it is hard. It is hard to wear all those hats. But if I could give one bit of advice to anyone else in this situation, is that you don't have to do it on your own. So for me, I think the value of the Owner Manager program has been this network and the opening up of these contacts. I've got another interesting story. So at our graduation from Owner Manager program, Gavin Hennett, and he said to me, I could introduce you to such and such. And I was like, I can't take advantage of you like that, Gavin. And he was like,
you can.
What do you mean? And I was like, well, that would be taking advantage. We've only just met, and this program and learning all the skills and things. And he was like, Sarah, that's what this is all about.
Wow,
And
that's
that was like
awesome.
a boom moment for me. And I was like, oh my goodness, it is what it's all about. And so, you know,
Yeah.
we've got so many skills and so many, you know, there's so many people in this group, and not just in our owner manager program, but in the alumni and you know, the previous cohorts and all of you guys. So, you know, if you're not sure about something, if you need help, then ask someone. And the other thing is, I really strongly encourage people to reach out to their local economic development agencies. So
Great.
I'm highly connected to our Central Economic Development Agency, to CEDA, but I know that they exist around the country, and the amount of support that you can get, which doesn't have to cost you a bean, is phenomenal. So, you know, all you've got to do is ask. So I
Amazing advice.
people to take you know, to take advantage of what's in front of them and use that support.
Amazing advice. And again, really practical things people can go, awesome, I'm going to jot that down and I'm going to do that. And I love what you said around the community as well, that the network is really, especially once you finish the program, is really such a valuable tool to be able to tune into different people and their expertise and experience and where they're at. It's just so valuable. So good to hear it is for you too.
It's incredible. I can't stress enough how much support that has been for me. And I feel very grateful to, like I said, to have engaged in that prior to COVID hitting, because I really think that that's a contributing factor to what got us through.
Totally. Wow. That's amazing to hear. I am always so blown away by these conversations. I can't believe it's my job that I get to have these amazing conversations with people and walk away feeling inspired. And so thank you so much for your time today, Sarah.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. I feel really privileged to have been given the opportunity to talk to everyone. So yeah, thanks very much, Bryar. I appreciate it.